Big Mike and Hayes Entertainment here. Today's episode, we got CFL Legends, Hall of Famers, Milt, Stegall, and Damon Allen. Here we go.
They're right here, right now. Let's go. If you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button. Shouts out to the sponsors.
How you guys doing? Milt, Stegall here. I'm coming up on You Only Touch Greatness podcast. Check me out, baby.
So this is Damon Allen, four-time Grey Cup champion, and I Only Touch Greatness podcast. See you soon.
This is the hottest place for big name interviews in Vancouver with Ryan Hayes and Big Mike.
Arguably the greatest receiver in CFL history, Milt Stegall enjoyed an illustrious 14-year career in Canada, spending all of it with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Stegall joined the Blue Bombers midway through the 1995 season, and on September 15th, scored his first career touchdown versus the Calgary Stampeders.
To Stegall, he dives and scores. Milt Stegall, his first touchdown for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
A Cincinnati native, Stegall used the extra space on the CFL field to his advantage, breaking the 1,000-yard receiving mark 10 times, setting a Blue Bombers team record. Stegall would help lead the Blue Bombers to 2 Grey Cup appearances, including the 2001 Grey Cup in Montreal, where he led all receivers with 7 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. In 2002, Stegall enjoyed the greatest single season of his career, finishing with 105 receptions for 1,862 receiving yards, 23 touchdowns, and was named the league's most outstanding player.
22 years in the making, Damon Allen has surpassed Warren Moon.
Legend. Keep the legend alive.
At quarterback, number 9, from Cal State Fullerton, Damon Allen. First and 10 from the 26. Allen rolling out. Allen's got some room. Look out! Played by Allen. He's going deep. Touchdown!
How you guys doing?
Good, yourself?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you perfect.
Okay.
What's up, my Hall of Fame teammate?
Yeah.
Who is that right there?
Hey, thank you for taking the time to come on, and this is going to be a hell of an episode. We got 2 of the biggest of all time.
Yeah, probably our favorites of all time, to be honest.
So you guys are saying we're old. Is that basically what you're saying?
Legends. Legends is what we're saying.
All right.
That's all right.
Okay.
It's always a pleasure to be. It's always a pleasure to be on with my good friend.
I know.
Hey, Milt, I had to put on the Bengals gear for you.
I see. I was like, was that a random thing or was that I don't want to go put on my jersey, so.
Was that his number? 18?
No. I was 84.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you ain't really got his jersey then.
No. I'm a huge Bengals fan, though. I have been since I was a kid, like Boomer Esiason and those days.
Wow, you go way back. And it's like when I was playing receiver, receivers couldn't wear those numbers, so you had to have an 80s number. So
yeah, that's right.
Yep.
What made you guys get into football in the first place? And did you guys play any other sports growing up?
Oh, well, you know, Damon almost played professional baseball, but he doesn't like to speak on that. But I mean, he pitched to Michael Jordan and everything. Damon won a college World Series. He liked to brag on a lot of things, but the man was an excellent baseball player. He just doesn't talk about it much. As far as me, I mean, I did everything: soccer, basketball, baseball, football, track, volleyball, tennis. I did it all. I mean, I tried to stay as active as I could, trying to keep up with my older siblings. So I did a little bit of everything.
And I think one of the reasons why we play so many sports, because in the States, because of the seasons, right? And each season is like, for example, it's football season, and then all of a sudden it turns on once the football season's over, it's baseball season or it's basketball season.
Right.
So it allows young kids to play multiple sports growing up, and I think overall, I mean, it helps us with every aspect of our functional skills as an athlete.
Right, without a doubt.
Hey, Milt, you were born in Cincinnati too, right?
Yes, unfortunately. No, I'm just joking. No, you know what? I was born in Cincinnati, raised there, went to college. Miami of Ohio was like an hour and a half away, and then I had the pleasure actually playing for my hometown team, which was the gift and the curse, I must say. But the fact that I got to play in the NFL for my hometown team with my family and good friends there, able to watch me. We didn't win too much, but they had an opportunity to watch me firsthand, so that was pretty cool.
Take you back to your first touchdown.
Well, my first touchdown actually came in preseason. I'll talk about that one, then talk about the only one I scored in my NFL days. But it was the opening kickoff for my first preseason game, and I returned it for a touchdown. And before that, I was a rookie free agent, so they weren't checking for me too much. But after that, that's when I opened up some eyes, got some opportunities, starting getting some opportunities at receiver. And in those preseason games, gave me opportunity to make the team. But my only touchdown actually came against the Houston Oilers. Warren Moon was the quarterback for the Houston Oilers at the time.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, exactly. I know. They were crushing us, so I got an opportunity to get in there and play some receiver because the majority of the time I was just a special team guy, but I got to play a little receiver and scored a touchdown. So I still have that ball today. So it was a pretty cool experience.
And Damon, you were from San Diego?
I'm from San Diego, but my first touchdown was my first year, 1985. My first start against Joe Barnes and the Montreal Alouettes. We beat them 38-1. That was my first start. That was my first official touchdown as a starter. And from there, you add on all those years. I mean, I got close to 100 rushing touchdowns.
Which is crazy. and don't get me wrong. I'm not just talking about him because he's right here, but we always talk about Damon Allen, and he'll say it. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer, but officially he wasn't. And Damon Allen, his rushing numbers alone make him a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a third leading rusher in the CFL at quarterback. And the fact that he was not a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I know he says it because it's in his mind, but officially there's no way he should not have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. But there's some politics involved in that, but we won't get into that right now.
We got to see him rushing a couple here in BC.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's true. I loved having you out here. What was it like growing up in San Diego for you?
Man, for me, San Diego growing up, man, great weather, throughout the year. And so I think, I learned a lot growing up, watching my older brothers, Harold and my brother Marcus, and, followed, try to do everything that they tried to do. But there was a time when, I didn't didn't hang out with my older brothers because of, they thought I was too young, they was too grown. But we're much closer, and not saying that we weren't close even when we were young, but much closer now, as adults, because we all golf. But growing up in San Diego, man, watching all those legends, play and perform, and, being a baseball player and a football player going back and forth. I remember growing up, going to the Chargers game and watching Dan Fouts and the throwing the football all over the field, San Diego Chargers, and watching the Padres. My father is in construction, so he helped build the San Diego Stadium, growing up as kids. So San Diego was always, that place where, your foundation is really built.
What was it like having, obviously, Pro Football Hall of Fame brother Marcus? What was the competitions, the battles like?
Man, our battles, man, we were very creative. And it's a great thing is the fact that when your father's the coach, you get to keep all the equipment. So when he was our baseball coach, he was our football coach. We always, it all starts from the house and from watching television, right? My brother says this all the time. He knew at a very young age what side of the television he wanted to be on. Wow. so he didn't want to watch it. He actually want to be in, being watched. And so right away he knew back then And then at the same time, man, we were so creative. Milt, man, we would like watch the All-Star game in baseball. We would all put on our uniforms.
Right.
We would chop the field and play in our backyard because we have floodlights in our backyard. So we would play basketball. We had basketball courts, everything in the backyard. And we would always simulate or emulate what we just seen on television and then go out there and play. If it was football game and they were playing in the mud, we would water down our backyard and put on our gear and play tackle football. And so, the creativity that it took for us to be as good as we wanted to be, those are the things that went on in the Allen's household, especially with 5 boys.
So one question I've always wanted to ask you, Damon, sorry to interrupt you guys.
Hey, no worries. Go ahead.
Who's the fastest who used to be the fastest between you and Marcus? Now, I've seen Marcus run and I've seen you run in person. So I want to know who's the fastest and who still is the fastest right now. I know you guys are old and gray and all that stuff, but
I don't know. I think I probably ran the fastest 40.
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you in a flat out place. I don't care what your 40 is.
So I'm just saying, who's the fastest? I mean, him being stronger, older during the time when we were run, but I'm quicker. And I could run too. I mean, I would always say myself, but knowing the Allen brothers, we're always going to give props to our older brothers. So I'm going to say my brother Marcus. But if you ask Marcus, he'll probably say me. So that's how we operate.
Let's hopefully we get the chance to ask Marcus what he thinks.
That's true. Absolutely. But the one thing is true that our running styles are very similar.
Yes. They both run like they have 3-piece suits on. Nice.
Yeah.
They have 3-piece suits on. That's how they run. Nice and smooth.
Milt, you spent 4 years at the U. What made you choose the U?
Well, that wasn't the U. I spent 4 years at Miami of Ohio, the real Miami, not the U.
Right. That's right.
Everyone gets that confused. That's okay. But no, I went to Miami.
I almost passed out when he said the U. I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, no, I didn't go to the U. So I have to start letting you know, give you some.
We gotta cut that question. We'll just cut that question.
No, that's good though. I like that.
It's a good question.
It's good. No, that's okay. Because I have to give you some history. I let you know that Miami of Ohio was a college before Florida was even a state. So we're the real Miami. Everyone tends to think that, well, you're just biting off of Miami. No. We're the real Miami. Of course, we don't have the same football history, but we have the cradle of coaches. We produce so many NFL and college head coaches and assistant coaches. So we have that. But as far as the football goes, no, we can't compete with them when it comes to that. But we have some other things. And we were long
Hey, Milt, it goes the same for us. When I say, what school you went to? I said, well, Cal State Fullerton University. They always think it's like when they see the F U, they're like, man, you went to Florida?
Right.
You went to Florida University? You went to Florida? I was like, no. Fullerton State.
You said 7.
I went to Cal State Fullerton.
Damon, you set 7 school records there. Pretty sure there's still records
man.
as well.
Like I said, for me, is when they take your football program away, then my records will never be broken.
Never gonna be broken.
That's a true story. Unreal baseball player as well. Obviously drafted by the Detroit Tigers in '84. Same year they won the World Series. What was that feeling hearing your name called for MLB?
Man, that was one of the most exciting aspects, because it was something I wanted to do ever since I was 7 years old, and that's why I had played football and baseball, pretty much consistently throughout Little League all the way to university. But it's nothing like winning a national championship. It's one thing is winning your football league conference, you're going to a bowl game, but when you win the national championship in baseball, and then during my time, if you understand the year I graduated in 1984, think about all the number 1 draft pick baseball players that I played with, coming out, the Barry Bonds, the Mark McGuire's, you name it, they were all there. Will Clark and who else? Barry Larkin. All these guys were playing.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys were playing in the 1984, and I've seen all those guys play during the College World Series. And so you get a glimpse of just how talented they were back then. and to see, how they were able to get to the mainstay and their, whole household names, makes it very special.
Right. Yep.
And then Milt, you signed in 1995 to the Blue Bombers. Well, did you know much about the CFL when you came?
I didn't know much at all. I had heard of course, the main cities, Toronto, and a little bit about Montreal. And I remember every now and then they would have a game on ESPN2, like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I would watch it then. But before that, I mean, I didn't know much. Let's be honest, I didn't know much about Canada. I knew, of course, I knew where it was, and I've been to Toronto a couple of times because I wasn't too far of a drive from Cincinnati. I had a lot of family in Detroit. But as far as anything else, I had no idea. My agent called me and told me, there's a team in Canada who has your rights. And I was like, who? He said, Winnipeg. I was like, who? What?
Right.
What's a Winnipeg? So, back then there was no internet, so I had to go to an encyclopedia and look up where it was. I'm like, it's above North Dakota. Like, are there humans up there? Like, what's going on? So, I mean, it was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Spent 14 years there, still involved with communities throughout Manitoba, still involved with a bunch of corporations and stuff in Winnipeg. So the fact that I had to spend 14 years there, it changed my life, and it continues to change my life. So
no, you're incredible, man, football player. You were talking about how fast me and my brother are, but hey, you guys know in university, like the guy ran track. The dude was world-class sprinter, man.
That's in our notes. That's in our notes. We didn't have a chance to throw that up when I kind of got thrown off by my "you" comment. But
no. I'm happy you said that because I wanted to correct you and let you know about the real Miami. Don't ever sit down.
You guys better take a hold of this because me and Milt can take over this whole conversation now.
Hey, that happened too when we had Dante Marsh on with us. He took over the interview for sure.
Great episode, though.
Great episode, though. He's a great guy, Dante Marsh.
Without a doubt.
Hey, Milt, you not only did you have to dodge cornerbacks and slip tackles, you had to get away from those mosquitoes out in Winnipeg too.
Woo! Yeah, they can be pretty bad. It's like the state bird, they got so big. So no, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I never realized how big and how many mosquitoes can exist in one city. So it was crazy. I remember they're talking about we're going to fog the city. I'm like, fog the city for what? I had no idea. And then when it got, hot and those mosquitoes came in, I was like, if they don't fog this city and get these mosquitoes, because they were
most of the mosquitoes must have came to Edmonton too, because I remember
they were bad in Edmonton. Yeah.
Yep. They big enough to carry you away, bro. I remember my first year in the league. Boy, I'm like, man, where are these mosquitoes, man?
But they were worse ever in Regina, in Saskatchewan.
Right.
Oh my goodness, they were the worst ever. I mean, I used to love playing in Labor Day Classic, but those mosquitoes, I'm like, hold on, we're playing on turf. Why are these mosquitoes on the turf?
Absolutely.
What the heck? How does this happen? But they were bad all over, like in the prairies. They were pretty bad.
West, we call those hummingbirds.
Yeah, West. You got a number, they'll make some noise.
Oh, yeah. 1985, Damon, you signed with the Eskimos and backed up the legend Matt Dunnigan. Did you know much about the CFL?
No, at that time, the only time I knew about the CFL because I followed Warren Moon during that time in '83, and his last year was '83. But I started watching the CFL when I think in 1982 the NFL striked. My brother played 14 games, and he won Rookie of the Year that year, 14 games, and they started showing CFL games, not knowing 2 years from now that the very team that I'm watching, the Eskimos, win I think they won a Grey Cup his last year, and I watched him when he was at the University of Washington too. So to be able to reconnect with him in Edmonton, and then 2 years later, not knowing that I was a property of the Edmonton Eskimos, really made it special because that's when they started showing CFL on TV. Mm-hmm. They got my eyes looking north and not looking south because they wanted to change my position.
Right. Wanted you to play what, wide receiver or DB?
Yeah, they wanted to see if I could play DB or receiver. I'm like, man, I can, but
that's not what I'm. Yeah, that's not. That's
that's not what I was supposed to do.
You both own so many records in the CFL. What do you think when people start chasing them and they're getting close? And you cheer them on, or do you enjoy that?
No, to me, records are meant to be broken, right? And so, the thing that I look at, and what makes you dive into what the word I want to use, the evolution of the game of football. So think about this. My first year, me and Matt Dunnigan sitting in the middle of the field in Commonwealth, and we're looking at the record books, and we see Ronnie Lancaster, 19 years, 50,000 yards, and we're like going, wow, man, that's unbelievable! Like that many years and that many yards. Not knowing year 16, I would break that record. And then I take the record, and don't forget, he held that record for 22 years. Yeah. 22 seasons.
A long time.
Yeah, I sent it to 72,000. I didn't hold mine for 3. So that tells you from that point on, when I broke it onto the next generation, they were throwing the football more. A lot more. And I said that tells you, before I broke it, he held it for 22 years. Yeah. I put it to 72,000, and I held mine for 3 years.
That's crazy.
So it is crazy. It is very crazy. I'm not sure if you're going to see. I think Cavill will hold on to that record for a long time, because I'm not sure if you're going to see guys play as long as we have.
And that's what I was just about to bring that point up. And you talk about those records, you'll be second. You won't see anyone come second, because guys don't play that long. They don't play 19, 20 years. Very few guys play 10, 15 years. So touchdown record, played 14 years, 147 touchdowns. I don't know if I'm going to, and I'm not bragging, but I don't know if I'm going to see anybody get close to that, because guys don't play that long anymore. Why don't they play that long anymore? There's a bunch of reasons, but you have to play a long time to break those type of records, and it's just not happening anymore. It just doesn't happen.
Well, and I think too, they may get to the 50,000 yard club or the 60,000, but the guys who were even before that, like the Ricky Rays, they're already out the league.
They're gone.
The Henry Burns, they're already out the league. So
you're
not going to get those guys playing that long, due to the fact that sometimes the style in which they play. Like if you think about Mike Riley, the way he played.
Yes. He's reckless. It's hard to play.
He's almost feel like he's on his last legs now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
what would be your personal highlight or personal low light for both of you?
I don't know if I have. Go on.
No, go ahead, Damon. Go. You can go. Go ahead.
No, when I look back, I don't ever look at having a low season. If I ever had a low season, it was basically probably due to injury, not versus being healthy and playing 18 games and having just an off year. My low seasons have been based on I probably didn't play majority of the season, or I was hurt. But I look at those kind of seasons, I look at it more. It wasn't challenging. It was something sometimes you have to go through to make you a better and push you to a higher level. And then sometimes, some teams are better than you are. and sometimes you don't have the talent that you want to. And, the one thing I took pride in, I can play any kind of game.
Well, for me, I agree with Damon. I didn't have any low lights, and low times or whatever. And we had some slim years in Winnipeg, some real slim years, slimmer than Damon Allen. So we had some slim years.
Right.
The fact that I was playing football and getting paid for it, I enjoyed it. I put things in perspective. I understood that, this is not life or death. This is something I've been doing since I was 4 or 5 years old. So I'm going to enjoy it regardless. Of course, I would have liked to have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 50 million Grey Cups and won a bunch of games, but I enjoyed every single moment of it. I had a great time, found some great friends on and off the football field. So I just had a great time every single moment, every single practice, every single meeting. Traveling when we, like I said, we used to go to went to the Labor Day Classic on that bus on Highway 1 from Winnipeg to Regina. Just remember all those times. So I had a great time my 17 years of professional football.
You guys always bus from Winnipeg to
Yep. And
always?
after always all my years, I think they fly now. And after 2000 and I think it was 2000.
I never knew that.
Yeah. And after 2002, we didn't stay in Regina anymore because what happened was like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, a bunch of fans came into Regina Inn, was knocking on our door.
Right. Yeah. We all heard those stories. Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, we would stay in Moose Jaw or whatever.
Moose Jaw.
Moose Jaw. Yep. Stay in Moose Jaw.
Hey.
Yeah. And I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you one funny story. Doug Berry, he was my head coach, great head coach, my last 3 years. Right. And his thing was he wasn't going to give us a curfew. He was like, you guys are grown men. If you want a curfew, if I give you a curfew, you're going to go out anyway. So where we stayed in Moose Jaw, it was a nice spa, mineral spa. And it was a casino right across the street, right? So Doug, I guess he was up late night one night, and he went to the casino about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Guess who's in the casino gambling? None other than Charles Roberts. So Doug Berry, he comes in to me the next day. He is mad. He's heated. I can't believe he was. I was like, Doug, you didn't give us a curfew. Well, Charles goes out and rushes for about 150, 160 yards that game, 2 touchdowns. Like, hey, this is Charles Roberts. This is what he does. You know, you don't give him a curfew, he's going to have a but once he steps on that field, he's going to be a terror. So just memories like that. Good
no,
time.
Absolutely, because we always have those guys. Because next time you go to that same city, you're like, hey, Charles, make sure you go out and gamble.
Exactly.
Stay with your routine.
This year was really different, having it being the first year with no Labor Day Classics.
Yeah.
Oh man, I mean that is so. I mean, when they started doing that, man, I knew something was wrong. Like, it's the same like in Toronto and in Hamilton. Like, how you not, like, it was like a couple of years that they didn't even play. And they were using other teams. I don't know what the situation was, but the Labor Day Classic is that's why they call it a classic, because people look forward to seeing that, whether it's, in Edmonton, Alberta, or, like I said, on the Battle of Ontario, right? And even to the point now, you start to realize that Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, the Banjo Bowl made popular.
Right.
Yeah.
No. And then those
should be those should be fixtures. You should never change those things.
I agree. 87, obviously, Damon, you replaced an injured Dunnigan, won the Grey Cup in BC, also winning MVP. Take me back to your first Grey Cup and the feeling.
Man, the feeling was, being the ultimate, backup and supporting the starting quarterback. What people don't realize, the day before, I had a dream that I would get the opportunity to play, and the reason why is due to the fact that in 1986 we were favored 14 points to beat Hamilton, and we ended up losing that game. And the only time they let me play in that game, I think we're down with 36-0. So in the fourth quarter, they let me play in the fourth quarter, and I scored 2 touchdowns and made it respectable. We ended up, losing 36-15. So I knew, like, we went back the second year. I knew there possibly be an opportunity for me to play, and that was due to because in the regular season I played against Toronto in Commonwealth Stadium, and I think we beat them 41-something. And I started that game and played well. And so I think in those kind of situations, if those things didn't occur early on in 86, and then, I started 8 games in 87 that same year. I started 8 games and I went 7-1 during that time. They were much more easier, like whenever he got hurt and those things, they would throw me in instantly. And so I think just leading up to the Grey Cup, I knew I had to be ready to play, but I had dreamed about like getting an opportunity to play. And when I get in there, I'm gonna go off because I played this team before in the regular season. So that gave me the confidence. So when I came in the game, I don't even think we punted. I don't think we punted. We were down 21-7, and we ended up winning the game. And I played pretty much a little bit over a half of football and won Grey Cup MVP. So
right. And one quick point about that, I don't know if you two guys know, but do you know who the third string quarterback on that team was? It's
on our team?
No, I'm asking the two. I'm not asking you. I know who you know.
Oh,
do you know who the third string quarterback on that team was behind Dunnigan and Damon Allen? He's another Hall of Famer.
If I had to take a guess, I'd say Dickinson, but I don't think so.
No. Dickinson's not that old. Tracy Ham.
Okay.
I remember Tracy.
They had 3 Hall of Famers on one team.
Yeah, Tracy was holding the clipboard, man.
Yep.
Hey, what's it like to win? You guys have both won most outstanding player. What does it feel like when you take that honor home?
For me, there's been multiple times I've actually been, a finalist and those things, or you represent your team, and then you'd actually never get a chance to. I mean, you have to understand. I mean, I was in an era where, I think Flutie won it 6 times, and Alan Pitts, and all these guys. I mean, they're all great players and had outstanding seasons. But the fact when I won it at 41 and 42, that really validated when I was in my prime of what the things I was doing. So to be able to win it at 41 and still be one of the best players in the league at 41, really made it special. That was the right time for me to win it, because I think it spoke incredibly on my young years and my prime. Yeah. The things I was doing on the football field, and to be able to still do it at 41 and be the best player in the league. And, I wish I'd have had Ken Austin. I probably would have won a lot more the way we were throwing the football over there.
Well, for me, I mean, it takes, as far as, any position, maybe besides running back and a quarterback, it takes a lot of other variables for
Absolutely.
Me. And the year I won it was the year that Kahari Jones, I mean, he just went off. He threw for 46 touchdowns, and he sacrificed a lot of his well-being for me to go out there and score all those touchdowns and all those yards. So he actually should have been the MVP that year. They said he threw too many interceptions, but he threw for a bunch of yards and a bunch of touchdowns. But
I think, didn't he win the year before?
He won the year before. He did win the year before, yeah.
Because I think he threw down there 50 that year.
Yep. He won the year before. Yeah. But his numbers, I thought, because he threw those 46 touchdowns, he almost broke Doug Flutie single season record. He should have been in the running for it, but they chose me because I look better than they want somebody up on stage who look good, of course. So no, I'm just joking.
Yeah, you were putting up big numbers too, my friend.
No, that year, I mean, it was crazy, but it took a lot from Kahari, the offensive line, Charles, everyone doing their job, because a receiver, my job is just to go out there and run routes and get open, but it takes a lot of other variables as far as, the offense goes.
Hey, let those guys know who was the receiving core during that time.
Well, G-Roy wasn't there. He was gone. I don't know if
I'm just saying, but what was your receiving core? Because you had is it Bruce?
Arlen Bruce, the great Arlen Bruce. Yeah, he opened up a lot for me. Bruce opened up a lot for me. Arlen Bruce, Marcus Howe was there. Jamie Stoddard was there. I can't remember who else was there. Oh, Robert Gordon, but Robert Gordon got hurt late in the year.
Right.
Also. So,
but I remember, we were trying to double you, and then the other dudes is killing us, man. I was like, man, who's this number? We're like, who's this number 4? Oh my God.
Arlen came on the scene and tore it up. He was a special player. He was
right. He sure was, man.
Definitely. Hey, Damon, I read a stat. Obviously, you winning it. You're the second oldest MVP of any North American sports franchise. Obviously, the oldest is the hockey player Gordie Howe. Pretty good company to be up with.
You can still play.
Oh, I was right. Gordie Howe, man. Didn't Gordie Howe wear the number 9 too?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, see? Hey, that number 9 is spiritual, man. You guys didn't know that?
I definitely think you guys should still both play.
Hey, can I play without getting hit? If I can play without getting hit, I can still play. It was just
absolutely, man.
Yeah, those last couple of years, just getting hit was just like a chore. It's like, because I could still run. I mean, I still stay in shape now. I can run forever. It's just getting hit and the pounding of a 200
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
linebacker falling on you. And I'm like, man, I'm too old for this. My last year, I knew it was time where, I mean, at the age I was at, there were a couple of guys on the team where I could have dated their mother. I'm like, hold on, man, something's not right. It's time to move on, man. I'm old enough to date your mother almost. Something is not right.
Well, here's a funny thing for me is I think as I started getting older, and I remember asking Ronnie Lancaster, like, when you start to get up that age, you go, hey man, when did you know it was time? And he said, when your teammates start dating your daughter, it's time to go. so I was at that time, I was at that age in BC, man, where, man, I would come out of the locker room and guys be asking like who's the young lady next to, man, that's my daughter, bro. I know you want to play this year.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Milt, I've seen your TikTok videos with the kids. You can still play.
Oh man, let me kick some field goals or something. My sons play soccer, so they can teach me how to kick some field goals. That's all I'm trying to do.
How do you feel about David Braley just passing away? That was hard for the whole CFL. Takes a loss on that one.
No, it is. They lost a tremendous pioneer. Someone who really loved the game and really supported the CFL. I mean, to hear all the backstories that the times that he's on the BC Lions, but you hear that he's as well supporting the Toronto Argonauts during the time we won the championship, and he's helping out Hamilton. Yeah. And so yes, we lost someone who has part of the financial backing of the CFL, and so it'll be interesting. But that just shows you. I read something a couple of days ago on he left money for the BC Lions to be able to function the next couple of years.
Yeah, I did read that as well. I think
that's just the type of person he was.
That lets you know where his heart is and what he was thinking and what he feels about the game. So we lost a giant, and we went in with
Hall of Fame with him,
with him as well, man. So it's pretty cool.
I mean, I think it's safe to say, if not for David Braley and
the
money he put up, we may not have a CFL right now. I mean, it's stable right now, but when they were down, he stepped in and donated some money and saved the league. So it's safe to say that he saved the CFL. So he means a lot. I'm sure there'll be some type of award named after him. Someone needs to put that on the table and make sure that happens, because like I say, he means a lot to every single individual who's ever benefited from being in the CFL.
No, absolutely, man. There's so many teams that, like, during the time when I was in BC, he was talking about buying the Stampeders during the time that they're trying to find an owner, and he was going to buy the franchise, but the league had, at the time he's also the commissioner too. So, so they were like, oh no, they can't do too much monopoly going on around here. But at the end of the day, I mean, it just really shows his heart and his dedication to our game.
Yeah, obviously, Damon, for you, that's our second big loss here in BC. I mean, we lost Cato as well earlier in the year.
Yes. Yeah, that's that's heartfelt, man, because we spent a lot of time with Cato, and he knows me. He's trying to kick me out the locker room because we played ping pong like all night, and we're still in our football clothes and stuff like that. And so, Cato's like, man, you guys go home, go home. But no, whenever you lose, a fixture, like not only in the BC Lions, but we just found out that Dwayne Mazuziak in Edmonton was let go.
Right.
And shoot, I think he's been 49 years.
Wow.
49 years, and that they wouldn't let him get to the 5-0, man. So, and people are talking about that. So, I mean, the changes, we all know that, when it's time for you to go, it's a young man's game. But, when you talk about the equipment guys know, they can write books, man, a lot of information that they've seen, witnessed all the things they had to do, and cutting, taking guys' uniform. They know all the information before any other player would find out information. So, it's tough to hear about those kind of things.
Back onto a positive note, July 27, 2007, Milt, You became the all-time CFL touchdown leader, passing Pringle and Reed. Tell us about that.
I mean, that was amazing. That was amazing. And it was crazy. Going into those couple of games leading up to that, Doug Berry, he wasn't getting frustrated, but, everyone kept asking about the touchdown record, So at the end of every practice leading up to those, like I said, those last 2 or 3 games, he would have me work on the quarterback sneak because it's a lot of teams, we were getting the red zone and players
Right.
like, you're not breaking the record. You're going to break it, but you're not going to break it against us. So he was hoping we get on the 1 yard line, I'd do a quarterback sneak. Like, Doug, I'm not about to stick my head in there and do a quarter. I mean, the first time I tried it, I didn't have my hands spread. They were like this, and I'll be counting. I was broke my fingers. I'm like, Doug, I'm going to score. It's not going to be on the quarterback sneak.
It's definitely an art.
It's not happening. But the way it happened, it was just so amazing being in front of the Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans and how loud the crowd was, the way it happened. Kevin Glenn, throwing me the ball. I mean, it was just a perfect scenario. And that's one of the moments I'll remember forever,
wasn't it like a little,
it was supposed to be like a run play. I was supposed to be behind him, but I got so excited. So I got in front of him and he pitched it in front of him. It worked out well because he had incentive in his contracts for every touchdown pass. So he got some extra money for throwing me a touchdown pass. So I didn't want to score, the breaking touchdown on a run play. It happened to be on the pass play. So
that was actually a shovel, huh?
It was, and it was supposed to be like a pitch throw. I was supposed to be behind him, but you know how slow Kevin is. He couldn't get out there. I got too far ahead of him. So
I broke my record on a shovel pass to Arlen Bruce.
Arlen Bruce, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that guy's a hell of a guy, that Arlen Bruce.
Yeah,
but in 2007, Milt, you contemplated retirement. What made you stay?
Well, I mean, going into that season, my wife and I, we had talked about it, and I informed the Bombers. That was probably a 99% chance that, that was going to be it. And I mean, everything was going perfect. We got to the Grey Cup and everything didn't go great in the Grey Cup. So I still had planned on retiring. And, my wife was like, well, hold on, maybe, you'll play another season. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, maybe we'll get you another season. So the Bombers reached out to me. They was like, do you want to play another season? And I was like, well, my wife said I can play, so I'll give it a chance. So I went out there and going into that season, if I would have known, because going into that season, I missed the first 7 games because I had to have surgery, microfracture surgery on my knee. Right. If I would have known that, I wouldn't have went back that year because I couldn't do the things I did the 13 previous years. I was a shell of myself. I had a great time still being around the players, but it's difficult when you mentally can do it, but physically you can't do it anymore because the body is saying, no, we're not. I'm going to let you've run us down. You can't do it anymore. So it was tough getting over that. But overall, like I said, I still had a great time that last year in Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's the one thing we always know when it's coming, right? It comes for everyone, right? Yeah. And even the greatest ones, they come. But even I think my last year, the time I walked away was the last game was, I lost to Milt Stegall. The funny thing is, my last picture in a uniform was with Milt.
Yeah, we're taking it.
So it was pretty special to be able to go in the Hall of Fame with him. My last picture on the football uniform was with Milt Stegall.
Wow.
Hey, we should try to find that picture to add it to the highlights that I'm going to put in here.
I need to find that picture.
Damon has his blown up. It's over his bedroom. He wants to look at me every night.
That's right.
Damon has it.
It's somewhere.
Yeah, if you got that picture, send it over to Mike so I can add it into the video.
Okay, I definitely will. I'll look for that thing.
Hey, Damon, 4-time Grey Cup champ, obviously. We talked about your first one, but the one that means the most to us, obviously, is the BC Lions one. Can you bring us back to that day?
Oh, man. It was neat because we're the first team that actually had we're the first 8-10 team that actually won the Grey Cup. And the neat thing is, we lost a lot of close games during that time, but we started adding like just pieces to our puzzle. We added Jimmy O to our offense. What people don't realize, the second half of the season, I threw for 3,000 yards in those 9 games. and we're also rushing forward with the 3D backfield, Drummond, Diesel, and Damon backfield, and I think we're averaging 150 yards on the ground, and we're throwing over 300 some yards in the ground, and then we went on like a 6-7 game winning streak, and then when the playoffs started, we knew we had to go through Alberta to win it, because don't forget, I had to redeem myself from 1999 when I fumbled in the Western Final, having the best record in the West, and we lost to Hamilton. So that leading up to it, Adam Rita, we met and getting ready for the playoffs. We said we're going to go to Edmonton. We're going to go right to Calgary. We're not coming back home. We're going to pack one time and go through and stay in Alberta. And that's what we did. And during the time we got to the Grey Cup, man, Montreal, even though they were favorite, they didn't want to see us because at that time it was almost like a train with no brakes, a runaway train with no brakes, man. It was just like anybody was in our way, man. We was just running through, and like I said, we're averaging like close to 40 a game. We were 30 something, close to 40 points a game in the first 2 playoff games, and we made it a close game in the Grey Cup game because it should have been over by halftime, man. But we always look at Louis, man, you missed 3 field goals, bro. And I missed 2 touchdowns in that game to Alfred Jackson, and like early on before the half, and it could have been like really, out of hand by halftime. But at the end of the day, man, Montreal showed their true colors, and they stayed with it, made some big plays, and it came down to a missed 2-point conversion.
Yep.
They will take it.
Yeah. Hey, Milt, you became the all-time leader in receiving yards in 2008. What did you feel in 2012 when G-Roy beat you? And how did it feel, of course, keeping yours?
For 4 years.
For 4 years.
For 4 years. I knew G-Roy was coming, and I thought to myself, I taught him too many of my tricks. The couple of years
That's right.
he played with me in Winnipeg, but it was almost like my little brother, breaking my record. That's how I looked at G-Roy. I saw him mature as a player, as a person. I saw how he was able to transform his game and the way he was able to change his work ethics, and that's a big reason why he was able to put up those numbers. So I was so happy. I mean, anybody would have broke out and been happy, but I was just even more happier seeing somebody that I had an opportunity to play with, had some good experiences with in Winnipeg, and just saw the way he elevated his game. So it was so fortunate that I was able to be there and experience that with him and his family, and just to see how that hard work had paid off for him. So like I just alluded to him, it was like my little brother.
What's the amazing thing, Milt, is, we always talk about how smooth route running that, G-Roy is, right? And he is one of the smoothest route runners. But then when you look back over your career and the way you run routes and all those things, man, you're just as smooth of a route runner that G-Roy was. But it just seems like, they forget about the way you ran routes and how smooth you were, because they seen all these long touchdowns and you run away from everybody, right? But I think as far as the route running, to be able to, it never looked like you was running, but you were always under control, and you always had the ability to separate and break away and create separation, very much like G-Roy. So I mean, I can see where G-Roy learned a lot during that time when he was with you. Because he was able to transfer that into, like, the Superman that he is.
Right. Yeah, no, he went to BC and he let it loose. He let loose, definitely.
What's your guys' favorite road stadium? Where'd you guys always love to go play?
Regina.
No, exactly. I talked about it before. Regina. I love, besides Winnipeg, there was nothing like that Labor Day Classic. Oh, I used to love playing in that. And don't get me wrong, it was the game, but it was also everything leading up to the game, coming out for warm up, the fans out there. Winnipeg, right. I mean, Winnipeg fans, they would make the hike from Winnipeg up Highway 1, so it'd be a bunch of our fans there. I mean, it was just a crazy atmosphere. And then after the game, the fans, Saskatchewan fans, they would call you everything in the book, during the game, but after the game, it was just so much respect and admiration and just appreciated so much. I mean, that's all CFL fans, but there was nothing like that Labor Day Classic.
Oh, absolutely, man.
That's one of the games I definitely missed. Definitely.
No, absolutely. When you think about, I mean, the two prairie, like, Winnipeg, it's a whole different mentality there, right? It's a physical type of play every time you go to that stadium because, they always had a really good defense. So you had to bring the right mentality to be able to play at that stadium because, the fans are just as tough as they are in Regina, man. I remember we're sitting on the sidelines and, they would talk to you so you can hear them very clearly.
They're right behind you.
Yeah, right behind you can hear. So I'm sitting on the field with Toronto and Austin's talking to me, man. And, and the fans were going, "Oh, Austin, man, hey, Damon, how can somebody, how can you coach somebody who was better than you, right?" And they would say that kind of stuff, right? And Austin would laugh. We would laugh about it all the time because they were always getting on him. But whenever he won the Grey Cup for them, man, they loved Ken Austin. But when he was playing, coaching with the Argos, man, they were all over Ken. All over him, man. The same way they were with Henry.
Right. Yeah.
You guys have a favorite sports movie?
Mine's Remember the Titans.
Okay.
Great choice. Great choice. My favorite movie as well.
Favorite sports movie? Oh man, I guess.
But you like Longest Yard?
The fact that I gotta think about it.
Where's Rudy?
You say Rudy?
I like Rudy. I'm a little tiny guy that made it.
No, I know what you're gonna say.
I've never
You're gonna say Brian's song.
I've never seen Rudy. I've never seen Brian's song. What's the one the one with Bobby Boucher in it? I like that.
Yeah, The Water Boy.
The Water Boy. There we go.
Water Boy. Okay,
that's a good one.
That one's awesome.
Yeah, they would be my two: Brian's song and Remember the Titans, because I'm a Denzel Washington fan. So
okay.
I like his movies.
Yeah, he's got good movies. Milt, obviously considered the greatest receiver in the CFL, probably all time, but no Grey Cup. How was it when Winnipeg won? You must have been pumped last year.
Oh, well, without a doubt. I mean, of course, I wasn't on the team. I don't get a ring, but I was just so happy. And those players, there was actually one player on the team that I did play with, Chad Rimple, the long snapper. But those players, most of them don't understand that these Winnipeg fans have been waiting so long for that. So I was happy for the players, but I was so happy for the fans too, because a lot of those fans, a lot of them, they saw me play, and a lot of them even before I played, they've been waiting for 30 years. So I was just so happy for the city of Winnipeg, the province of Manitoba, because they've been waiting so long. It's so unfortunate that they didn't get to celebrate it like they could have, maybe the first game of the year, home game of the year, could have had a season, but I was overjoyed for those players and especially for those fans and everyone throughout Winnipeg and Manitoba who's been, living on the edge, waiting for that Grey Cup to happen. So it was definitely a great feeling.
They turned it up. They deserved it, man. They dominated the Ticats in that Grey Cup game, bro. Dominated
throughout the playoffs. It was crazy what they were able to do. Two games on the road in Calgary and Saskatchewan. Then they had go to Calgary again or whatever and win the Grey Cup. It was pretty impressive.
We've had Big Hill and Willie Jefferson on here, so we talked about that pretty good. I also, Milt, you were named the best looking man in the CFL.
I don't know. Damien might argue that.
Hold on. You sound like you're shocked when you asked me that question. You think you look better than me or something?
I don't look better than not many people.
Oh, you sound like
maybe him.
I don't. You know what? I don't think I'm the best looking man. I know. There's no more thinking. The thinking is over. Every time I look in the mirror, it just smiles back at me every single time. So there's no more thinking.
I wanted to throw that fun stat in there. We found that note somewhere.
Hey, Damon, you retired in 2008, and then you stayed with pinball, I believe, as some kind of advisor or something. Is that true?
Yes, I was the advisor to the president, but like I said, that didn't last long because he ended up the next year when they brought the new president in. The new president didn't know who I was, and he didn't spend time with me, and so they basically made pinball the ambassador, and then I got kicked out. But for that year, I will always be a boatman because we won a championship together, and so. I'm always going to support the boatmen. I was really looking forward to this year because they made tremendous changes this year as a football team. And so I thought this year was going to be very interesting in the Eastern Division. You know, the West is always going to be competitive. But it's unfortunate, man. That's the one aspect that, I'm disappointed at most is, we just didn't find a way to get on the field.
Right. Yeah.
Because we're watching all these other leagues play.
Yeah,
and perform.
Exactly.
So,
there's no way that CFL should be able to do it the easiest, really, because there's least amount of teams. You guys do a bubble. I can't see how it can't
sure
work.
as fuck wouldn't want the bubble. Sorry to swear on my own show. I shouldn't want the bubble to be in Winnipeg, though. We got BC Place. You can live in that thing.
You can live in the bubble. but I think they wanted some place that was a little smaller, maybe.
Yeah.
Than being in one of the bigger cities, of course, and the amenities and everything. It would have been easier to have it in Winnipeg or a place like Regina, whatever, than one of the bigger cities, I think. So hopefully we have a season. Well, we have to have a season next year.
No, definitely gotta have a season.
I don't know, but we will definitely have a season next year.
Hey, as a BC Lions season ticket holder, how do you think they come back from this, and what maybe do they change?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I mean, they're going to have to, restructure their financial, to make sure that they're in the league survives in the long term. I mean, it also really just shows you too is that we need more. Nothing against Milt, but we need multiple TV stations talking about the CFL.
Yes.
You see the NFL, even though they have no attendance, but the TV dollars are so much. That they can run their organizations and franchise, right? And so I think even in the CFL sense, I think even TSN could have been able to, put the product on and made a tremendous difference, even if the TV money was bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, well, hold on, Damon. They give out, TSN gives away money. That's cutting into my pocket, so I don't know where you're
That's why I was going to offset, maybe if we had another TV network in there.
You cutting into my pockets now. I got to feed my family.
That was my next thing, Milt. I was going to say, how do you like broadcasting, and what made you get into it in the first place?
Well, I'm having a great time. This would have been my 12th, 13th year doing it, but
unbelievable, man. Congrats, bro.
I'm having a great time, and I didn't know I was going to be going into it. There were some whispers in my ear. Brian Williams, who's been doing it forever, he was just talking to me one time. It was at the 2007 Grey Cup. He was like, you should think about going into TV, working for TSN. He said he would put a word in me. So, some ears, people heard about it. And next thing you know, we're talking, and I'm on TSN. So, I mean, it's been a great experience. My first few years, I was like a deer in headlights. I mean, because it's not what I thought it would be. You just don't knows about this. You just don't get up there and talk. There's a lot of work that leads up to that point before you even get up there and talk. So, I mean, I'm having a great time. I'm missing it. I miss being around the guys, talking about football and so many other things. And hopefully I can get back to it next year, because I can truly say I've never worked a day in my life. I went from playing football to talking about football.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
I've never worked a day in my life, and I'm 50 years old, so I've been truly blessed and fortunate.
Well, he already told you how good looking you were, so I guess
that's what I was going to say. No, it's no wonder Brian Williams wanted you on TV.
He's a smart man. He's a smart man.
Damon, do you still have your Damon Allen Quarterback Academy going? And tell me about it.
I still do my Quarterback Academy. I'm still, plugging away, trying to be creative, and at the same time, looking at, many different options too as well, right? I think one of the things that I've been, someone reached out to me about joining the Bill Walsh diversity program, and so I may go through that program as well.
Yes,
I think Henry went through it this year.
That's what Henry went through. Yeah, and
Henry went through this year, and I think I may do it next year. So
okay, yeah.
And then Damon, obviously in 2012, congratulations, inducted to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. What an honor. Also in 2018, inducted into Canada Sports Hall of Fame. Tell me about those two moments.
Wow, that was something very surprising due to the fact, because I think over the the longest time, I always thought it was just a Canadian. You had to be Canadian to make it into the Canada Sport Hall of Fame. And so, that's the biggest sport honor in Canada. And so when I was announced to inducted to go into that in 2018, I mean, now you start to realize like, oh man, this is bigger than the CFL Hall of Fame. And so, sometimes people would say, how you want to be introduced? I said, I want to be introduced as Canada Sport Hall of Famer, by the way. But no, I have great respect for both Hall of Fames, and but it was special knowing that the amount of football players. I think there's only 600 athletes in the Canada Sport Hall of Fame, and I think there's about 30 something football players as a whole. But I think in time, the Milt will be in there, and we'll keep on going. So very thankful to be on that team as well.
I feel like Milt should be in there. You were inducted into the Ring of Honor in Winnipeg. Big honor as well. Obviously the Hall of Fame's coming, but now what's that feel like being on the Ring of Honor?
That was cool. It was a crazy night because that's when we had.
That guy got a street named after him, man. What are you guys talking about, man?
Yeah, he did. I have that in my notes as well too. Don't worry.
It was like a 2-3 hour delay that day because of the storm. So the fact that those fans stuck around and still cheered me on. Winnipeg went out and played a great game against Hamilton, won the game. My sons fell asleep because they were tired. They had just flew in with my wife, but it was a great evening once again. Like I say, Winnipeg, the way they treat me is truly spectacular. Every time I go back up, every time they honor me, they always put me on a pedestal. They're giving me my flowers every single time. So there's so much I have to be thankful for from the city of Winnipeg and the province of Manitoba, the entire organization, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Treat me first class every single time. It's truly.
And when you get a street name, then the rest is coming.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. And I mean, class of 2012 for the CFL Hall of Fame as well. You can't beat that.
No, best class ever. And
Damon,
David Braley.
We got the best builder in there. David Braley.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool. We had a great time, and I know Damon doesn't care much about this, but we got inducted in Winnipeg. I mean, I couldn't talk.
That's right. I was happy for Milt.
I got inducted in Winnipeg, in the town I played in. I mean, it was like, wow, am I dreaming right now? It was pretty cool. They even treated Damon well. That's how Winnipeg is. They treated.
That's right, man.
How big's the key to the city, Milt?
Put it like this. It's sitting outside. I can't even get into my garage right now.
Hey, Milt and Damon, I honestly can't thank you guys enough. We've been huge fans of yours ever since you guys played, and it truly meant a lot to us to be able to talk to you guys today and hear stories that we don't get to hear and hear about your guys' lives and your guys' careers, and it means a lot to us. And thanks again.
No, thanks for having me. I got one thing I got to ask you guys. I'm not mad that you thought I went to the U, but now I need you to go look up some history on Miami of Ohio, baby. The greatest college accredited coaches. You look up some history. I need a 500-page report, double spin. I'm just joking.